I want to give you the 4 steps to setting a goal so that you will guarantee that you achieve it. Most people set goals wrong, which is why I'm about to call you out, but hold on.
Hey believers, I'm Nicole Purvey and welcome to the second episode of the God Goals and Money Show. And yes, you heard that right. Chances are the reason why you haven't manifested that $1 million home or even that multi-million-dollar portfolio, even though it's been on your vision board for the past 5 years, is because you actually set your goals wrong. But it's not your fault because 99% of goals are actually set wrong, which is why most people don't achieve them either. But I'm going to show you this 4-step process on how to achieve any goal. We're even going to look at some scripture and see how King David made the same mistake you're making right now and how he fixed it. Oh, I'm also going to show you these amazing medical grade skincare products that I just received because at 41, clear skin is definitely one of my goals. And I'm also going to give you access to this amazing spreadsheet that I use to help my members and students narrow down which one of their passion projects they're going to work on so they can increase the chances of achieving their goals. Because I know you got about 11 things that you want to do, but we got to narrow it down to the most important ones using math. So let's hop right into this.
I just got my makeup done for this episode of the God Goals and Money Show. And although I'm not a huge fan of it, I'm glad that I got it done because some things happened that is going to really spruce up this episode and make me totally revamp how I'm doing this episode. First of all, the artist that did my makeup is very, very talented. I'm just not a huge fan of eye makeup. But while she was doing my makeup, we got into this conversation about goal setting. And it made me completely revamp this episode. So before I go into these 4 steps, I want to just debunk some myths about goal setting just in general. I mean, like 99% of people set goals wrong, which is why a lot of goals don't get achieved. So it starts at the onset. I know because I have coached thousands of people, and I will tell you that they don't even know how to set goals. I'll ask, it starts from this. The question is, what do you want? And people be like, what do you mean what I want? What do you want? If someone asks me that, because I'm very mindful of the way that I set my goals, I know exactly what I'm gonna get. If you have a financial goal, you want to attain a certain amount of money. Hey, my goal is I wanna make $10,000, I wanna make $50,000, I wanna make $100,000. And I'm gonna tell you that that type of goal is where you are going wrong, which is why I'm about to call you out. You have had this goal for a very long time and you haven't achieved it, right? So you have some financial goals, or we got a lot of real estate people in the room. You might have a goal of a number of units and you just keep failing. I had a similar situation where I had a goal and I kept failing until my eyes was open to this 4-step process. Before I go into the 4-step process, you know I got a story for you. I gotta give you some context. For those of you who know me, know that I'm Nicole Purvey, a real estate investor, and I run the Better Than Success Real Estate League. I've been running this real estate club and investing in real estate for the past 8 years. And I love it. I do. I love everything about real estate. But I'm gonna be honest, I've felt out of alignment just as of recently. And I've been talking very publicly about rebranding, where I want to rebrand, but I don't want to not do real estate. And so what does that look like? I spent months developing and letting all this sit on my brain because I'm very passionate about this. But what made me even get here, we're going to take it back, rewind, 2 years ago, when I realized that I kept setting goals and wasn't achieving them. Not only was I setting goals, but I was putting systems and strategies in place to achieve the goal, and I kept failing month after month, year after year. Why can't I get to this goal? I mean, literally, it was times where I got like right up on it and then dropped down. Why can't I get to this goal? Around the same time when I started to realize like, hey, what you're doing is just not working, I watched this movie, has nothing to do with real estate, but it made me have an epiphany. I watched this movie called Cyrano. I think it's based on a play from way back in the day. The movie stars Peter Dinklage, you know, Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. Okay, so it stars Peter Dinklage. Actually, there was an old Steve Martin movie based on this plot line where, I don't know if y'all remember when a movie when Steve Martin had the really big nose.
Here it comes!
And the movie is about this little person that's really madly in love with his friend, this beautiful woman. and she is just his friend. I'm not going to go into the details, but the movie was made so well that I cried. I cried and felt love so deeply from watching this movie. And having that strong emotion made me realize that I had become very numb inside. What do I mean by numb? I legit didn't even realize that I didn't really have any excitement going on in my life. Like, there was nothing that I was really excited about, excited to wake up about, nothing. I wasn't sad, I wasn't depressed. There have been times that I've been depressed, don't get it twisted. I was just numb. And so this movie opened my eyes. I said to myself, hey, if I feel numb, then I need to get to the bottom of it. Am I numb because my life doesn't look the way I want it to look right at this very moment? That is true. That doesn't mean I have to be numb. What do I see in the future? And when I thought about my goal and I said to myself, self, how would you feel if you achieved this goal? And it did not stir up any strong emotions. And at the time, my goal was to get to $100,000 a month. It didn't stir up really strong emotions, enough to just make me feel pure joy. And so that was eye-opening. And so I went and talked about this to my mother. And my mom said, Toppy. Y'all know my mom calls me Toppy.
I know you think you know everything and you are smart, but you're wrong. Your beliefs are wrong. You're wrong. You're looking at something the wrong way. And you have to admit that you're wrong so you can fix it.
I had to admit I'm wrong. Now, this is hard for a Taurus, okay? Tauruses, we are not set up and designed to admit that we are wrong. But once I did, it was very freeing. Now, a lot of you may be able to resonate with this. You're not getting the results that you want, but you know you're doing the right things. Like, you don't have any major addictions. You're not in any toxic relationships. You're living your life in your eyes the right way, and you're like getting frustrated because you think you're doing everything right. But there is another layer to this. Somewhere along the line, there is either a blockage or a wrong belief system. You are built your whole foundation of this great life, of your great perfect way of life, based on a wrong foundation of a belief system. So I had to start by changing my belief system. So let's go back to my example. My life was not going the way I wanted it to, but I have this goal that I was truly, truly married to and truly dedicated to. I have this goal of $100,000 a month. And so if I'm thinking about, hey, my life not being perfect right now, the goal is not exciting, which one gotta go? Because I can't change this very instant, like the circumstances of this very instant. The goal has to change. And so that's where I had to admit where I was wrong. And then after that, that's when everything started opening up for me. Now, I got another story for you that's going to help along with the next part of this journey. At the same time, God kept pointing me in the direction of David and Nathan in the Bible. Now, I used to be a huge David fan. He was my favorite character in the Bible. And so I knew all his story front to back, front to back, front to back. And so when this story kept popping up, this conversation between David and Nathan kept popping up, I initially ignored it because I'm like, I know this story. But something told me to go back and read it. And then there was a scripture that popped out for me that just really opened everything up for me. 2 Samuel 12:20. David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his apparel and came into the house of the Lord. I know it's not very evident right now, but hold on. So let me give you the backstory. First of all, David's the king of Israel. He's kicking people's butts. One spring, he decides not to go at war. He stayed home. He sees this woman bathing on the roof and was like, so he's like, oh, she's a cold piece. I want her. So he kicks it with her that spring. She ends up getting pregnant. Normally, that's not a problem, but she's married. And not only is she married, but her husband is in David's army. Okay, so he says, okay, she's pregnant. This is what we're going to do. We're going to call her husband home. He's going to sleep with her and problem solved. This baby's going to be his baby. He refuses to sleep with his wife. He said, no, King David, I'm riding with you. I'm going to sleep outside of your place on the ground in the cold because we got a mission and I want to stay focused. He's like, this is a problem. Mind you, this guy's name is Uriah, okay? David then says, I have no choice, but I have to kill him. So he sends Uriah on the front line and he dies. So now, let me marry Bathsheba because she a whole baddie. Let me marry her. So David and Bathsheba gets married. Then one day, Nathan, David's spiritual advisor, comes and says, hey, listen, we have a problem. There is this situation, your subjects, two guys, they live next door to each other, poor guy and a rich guy. The poor guy, he literally has one sheep and he loves this sheep. This is his baby, treats this sheep like it's his own child. Rich guy, he got dozens, hundreds of sheep. Cool, they coexisting. But then rich guy, he gets a visitor. Visitor comes to his house, they want to throw a party. The rich guy then takes the poor guy's sheep, kills that sheep and feeds it to his homie. None of his own sheep. And David is enraged. He's like, oh my God, oh my goodness, we got to do something about this. Nathan says, you are that man. And he used this story as an analogy to tell him, hey, you got a lot of chicks. Why did you have to take this chick? Okay? Why did you have to take her? Hold on, I'm getting to a point. After that, Nathan says, hey, nothing is going to happen to you, but that baby that she's pregnant with, that baby is going to die. Before the baby died, David fasted and he was walking around sad and he wouldn't eat. He was just a wreck. When the baby died is when this scripture came in. He found out that the baby died. He got himself together. It says, again, he arose from the earth, washed and anointed himself and changed his apparel and came into the house of the Lord. Now, what I want to point out about this story is often in the Bible uses the analogy of coming into the house of the Lord as really your temple, and your body is your temple. Which means while he was going through what he was going through everything that led up to this whole situation, he was not in his temple. Okay? Not only was he not in his temple, the other thing about this scripture is he anointed himself. When we think about someone being anointed, we always put it on this pedestal as if someone else has to anoint us. Or when we think about someone being anointed in the Bible, you can anoint yourself. And so let me go back to my situation and compare it even more to David. I was going after a goal because I probably wasn't in my temple. I was going after a goal that I really wasn't sure about. But because I wasn't in my temple, that's why I set the goal in the first place. The same thing with David. David was supposed to be away at war. This is somebody who gets off on the adrenaline rush. That's his whole thing. You're not away at war, you're home, so you're craving excitement and you're looking for it in the wrong places. You're looking for it in the place of a woman, Bathsheba. Now the reality is a woman or a financial goal, these are not really goals. They are byproducts of whatever we really should be after if we are in our temple. If we are present, fully present in our body, in alignment, present with the spirit, that's a whole nother conversation, going after the right goal so that the money, the women, the material things are byproducts of the goal. Okay? So that's when the light bulb went off. My goals are wrong. Aww. Did you know that there have been study after study to prove that setting financial goals actually gives you a lack of motivation? Listen to this. Psychologist and researcher Edward Deci and his colleagues did 128 controlled experiments. Their conclusion was that strategies that focus primarily on the use of extrinsic rewards like money, chicks, cars, houses, do indeed run a serious risk of diminishing rather than promoting intrinsic motivation. So if you have an external goal like money, cars, women, men, it decreases the likelihood that you will be motivated. Who would have thought? So you're probably guessing, trying to figure out like, okay, so if that doesn't motivate me, what will motivate me? Okay, I'm going to tell you the 4 steps to manifest what you want in your life the right way and also achieve the financial reward. But what I want to do is we are going to wash this makeup off together. Actually, someone sent me some medical grade skincare, high quality stuff. And I want you to experiment with me, and I'm going to give you these 4 steps. It's going to blow your mind. So come on. See, when I'm in here, the makeup doesn't look that bad. I just can't get down. I just don't like eye makeup on me. But let's get into this. So, while we unbox this medical grade stuff, let's talk about the first step. The first step you have to do is design your life. I talked about this in another video where I was sharing my rebranding tips, but just hold tight. If you saw that video and you enjoyed it, hold tight. I'm covering up my address, by the way. The first thing you have to do is design your life in 6 areas. The first area is God. The next one is love. The next one is finances, work, play, and health. You have to design your life. This is like critically important. In the finance area, that's where you want to put your goals, that financial goal that you have, okay? Just design it as if nothing bad ever happened to you. No one's ever guilted you or shamed you into anything. So design your life. All right, let's get into this package. This comes from #1 beauty nurse on Instagram, and she is a nurse and she does medical grade skincare, and I've been dying to get into her stuff. And she fools with your girl's movement, and she sent it to me for free. And she looks amazing. We're like the same age. Her skin is flawless, okay? So I was like, I got to get my hand on some of this stuff. So let's look at the packaging. Ooh. Okay, so we have Firm and Tightening, Youth Remedy, Liquid Collagen, and Vitamin C. Whew, 41, you gotta start using this stuff. Cleanser, this is what we're gonna use to wash this makeup off. And listen, if you need aged stuff, if you need age-defying stuff, you can't make the font this small, okay? If you are in this bag, you can't read this. Okay, I'm over here like, you know how old people be pulling away and jerking it back? That's what I'm trying to do, try to focus right there. Okay, child, y'all can zoom in. Age defiance, I think that's what it says. I can't see this. And the last thing is your tinted SPF 46. That's such a random number, 46. And vitamin C and E, Vital U Serum. What? We about to get into this. All right, so after you've designed your 6 areas of your life, you should have at least 1 sentence, as many as 10 sentences about the different areas of your life. Okay, so let's say for instance, in the area of finances, we'll stick with that example. In the area of finances, you said, I would like to have perfect credit score. I would like to bring in $25,000 a month. I want to pay off my existing mortgage. Or you can be super narrow-minded like me, where I was just like, everything else is good. I just want 100 grand a month. That's it. I'm not even thinking about anything else, okay? You get 1, or in each area, you can have 10, okay? This is where it gets tricky and you have to pay attention. In those areas, for each of the declarations, it's easier if you have 1, because it's going to take a lot of time, 1 per. In each of those, I want you to sit and really imagine yourself achieving it and write every single emotion that you would feel. Every emotion that you would feel if you achieved it. If you need help, you can refer to one of the many emotion wheels, because a lot of times we have emotions or feelings that we just don't readily have the word to describe. And it is really important that you try to nail down your emotions here. So write them all out. Let's get to washing my face and getting this. This is what it looks like up close. Let's get it off, okay? So the first thing we're gonna use is the Youth Renewal Cleanser. Bootying right now. My face definitely feels real cleansed. So Nurse Candie said to let this air dry for 30 seconds, and then you can move on to the next step. So we're gonna let it air dry, but in between, let's move on to step 2. As you are writing the emotions down associated with each of the areas in your life that you want to design, you have to approach this emotionless, not in a judgmental way. That's really what I mean. Because you're going to be feeling the emotions, but you can't judge the emotions. When you judge the emotions, if it's too happy, then you put it on a pedestal and you make it your God. And that's a problem. When you judge it in a negative way, like, oh, maybe you want romance in your life. And this is something that I used to do. So don't judge me, okay? When I would write down my romance, it would remind me of what I'm missing, what I don't have, and that emotion that I'm after, and it would make me sad and feel a lot of self-pity. And as you are doing this, you are really blocking your manifestation of what we are actually after here. Because what I want you to see is that you are not actually after the goal, the byproduct. We're gonna talk about what that means. The goal, right? Or the design, right? So when we talk about the 6 areas where you design your life, chances are that money goal that you had, or the unit count, or the man, the woman, the house, the car, whatever, it's actually a design. So when you set your goals, you're setting your goals as a design, and it's not enough. That's just part of it. All right. So you need to figure out what emotion you're actually after, because the emotion that you're actually after, that is you trying to get back to your natural self. And what you will find is those emotions may really be tied to your purpose, and you can use that to propel you forward in your purpose and allow you to get back to who you really are, because that's really what your purpose is. You manifesting in this earthly realm who you really are. So you're trying to get back to who you really are with these emotions, right? Because who you really are, you're going to feel those emotions, right? And for everybody, the set of emotions are going to be different. Or there is an emotion there that you are chasing a design. You don't even want the design or the desire or the goal. You just really want the emotion. I'll give you an example. A lot of times people who are super duper wealthy, and you find out that they chase this money, or not even super wealthy, just rich, or people who are money hungry. They're chasing all of this because they are really after love. And they do anything to get this love that they think that they're going to get from money and being rich and famous. When in reality, they could have satiated it with just strengthening their relationship with their parent, strengthening their relationship with their partner, being more vulnerable and finding a partner, strengthening their relationship with your children, strengthening their relationship at the local community center could have really fulfilled this everlasting need to get wealthy. You hear these stories all the time. So why not cut out the learning process and just figure out, what emotion am I after? Am I willing to die on this hill for this emotion? Or can I get it from someplace else that is easier, and I don't have to go run through walls to go after this design that you think you want? Okay. The other thing about these emotions is that there are success hormones. So dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, and oxytocin. Those 4 hormones. When you go after the emotion, you set off a cycle, and these hormones make you more productive. Can you believe it? So anything that induces the hormone versus the thing, if you can say, hey, you know what? I don't have to wait until, and I'm only saying things that you already know. I don't have to wait until I get to this goal to be happy. If I can just figure out how to be happy, because that is the hormone the emotion that I'm after. If I could figure out how to be happy now, this will allow me to get more productive, to go after the real goal, which we're going to get to in a minute. And then this actual design, the financial goal, the material thing, that ends up being a byproduct. I keep teasing you about byproduct. We haven't gotten there yet, okay? Right. So just imagine if you know that you are yearning for a particular emotion, how much more motivating is that than this financial goal that you don't even know if it's going to give you what you want. And the reality is, a lot of times you're not even super motivated because your life currently isn't terrible. Like when I was going through my stuff, the current moment, it wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't what I had in mind. So it wasn't enough to make me be like, put a huge fire under my butt to go after this money that I'm not even sure if this is going to be worth it. But that emotion, you know what that emotion feels like, you know that's going to be worth it. That's a different type of party. So I just had to give you the groundwork. All right, before we move on to step 3, let's apply the next step because it's definitely been past 30 seconds. Let's apply the next step in the whole Nurse Candie medical grade makeup process. And just to show you, my skin is completely dry. This is what it looks like. This is the most rawest Nicole that you're ever going to see in your entire lives, okay? All right. So this next step is the, never thought I would be one of these hands behind product in camera people. She told me these droplets, don't put it on your face, put it in your hand. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been watching people do this online for years. She said, don't put it on your face because you don't want to contaminate it. Like you drop it on your face, but she said put it in your hand. I've been watching people do that on their face for years, and I have always wanted to try it. So let's get it popping. I'm gonna drop it on my face. Oh my goodness, this all burns. I meant to tell y'all after I did the, I think it needs a little bit more. After I did the face wash, it was a little tingly. Definitely is a different type of cleanse. Okay. Got that on. Let's move on to the next product, which is the moisturizer. Now, this moisturizer, I actually made a big boo-boo. I assumed it was a cream because it looks like a cream, right? So I had like kind of tipped it over when I was opening it. And it is actually, I don't know if you guys can see in here, it's like liquidy. And I like spilled out a lot of it. It's liquidy. Oh, it feels luxurious. Wow, this is a different type of party than normal BS that I've been using. I won't tell y'all what I've been using. I don't want nobody trying to come after me. This is a different type of party. It makes your skin feel like how it's probably supposed to feel, as opposed to oily, like, you know, some of the other popular creams. Rhymes with feels, shields, meals. If you know what I'm talking about, type down below. All right, the next one is the SPF. Oh. Okay. Oh, it's tinted. She did say that. Oh, wow. Oh. The next one is the eye matrix. The next step is the eye matrix. Put that under your eye. Oh, this one burns and tingles. There wasn't playing. All right, and then the last one, right here at dead last. This is the Youth Therapy. Okay, now that the skin is skinning, thanks to Nurse Candie's 8-step process, now I actually gotta lightweight get myself together. I actually gotta put makeup on again. So I'm gonna put my makeup on real quick, and we're gonna go through step 3 of setting your goals. And I'm gonna tell you about the Passion Priority Matrix. It's something that I developed. Chances are you have literally listed out all your things, the desires and everything, and you looked at it and you're like, this is a tall order. And then your second thought is, how am I going to get all of this done? So I developed this strategy, this spreadsheet I'm going to share with you for narrowing down your passions to figure out which ones or 2 you are going to work on first. It is a game changer. So I want to share with you, I want to show you how this spreadsheet works, and I'm actually going to share it with you. So it's down below. You already know it's down below, but I need to show you how it works first. You might be able to figure it out, but just sit tight. Let me show you how it works. Put my makeup on, and we're going to go down to my office, and I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, come on. Okay, now I'm done. Let's do a little bit of blending in. Yeah, I got some adulting to do. later. So I'm excited. All right, let's go downstairs. I got to show you step 3. It is an amazing spreadsheet. I can't wait to share it with you. Let's go. Okay, step 3, the passion priority matrix. Now, after you're done, came up with your goals, wrote down all of your emotions and everything, you now have just a bunch of words. It may help you to feel clearer, but you're not there yet. The good thing is you probably feel clearer, you have some clarity, but the bad news is you might be overwhelmed. You look up and you're like, how can I do all of these things? And you might realize that you have some passions that you want to pursue just in one area, one of the 6 areas. And it's like, I just don't have time. This is what the problem is. This is why I set these wild goals. And you think this is why I don't achieve them, because I want to do this. I want to be a social media influencer. Then I want to be a fashion person. And I want to invest in real estate. And I want to own a trucking business. Like all of the things. And you're just like really overwhelmed. I know it happens to the smartest of us. Let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is when we was in school and they said you can do anything you want to do, we believed them. We believed them, okay? But the reality is we just have to be a little more strategic about this. You can do anything, you just got to be a little more strategic. So usually when I do this exercise, it's usually anywhere from 4 to 6 things that a multi-talented person really wants to do. This is going to help you narrow down what you should focus on first. So let's come right over to the spreadsheet. First thing you're going to notice is business idea 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're going to go ahead and write down your ideas. Transaction. And then the next one, let's say you want to be a real estate investor. And let's say the next one, you're like, I really want to start my own marketing consulting firm. And then the next one, you want to be a social media influencer. There's good money in that. And the last one is you want to get into your family business. You're like, hey, I feel this obligation. My family owns a pizza shop and my dad really wants me to get into it. All right, that's the first thing. So everything in the yellow is what you're going to fill in. So you got your passions here. The next thing is you're going to need to come over across the top here to think about these 3 areas. Now, these 3 areas, current talent / your passion, resources, and low-hanging fruit income. These are the 3 areas that I find that are most important in deciding what we end up doing. These are the 3 things that we think that we use to decide whether we're going to follow through with something or not, if we're really intentional about it. Current talent / passion. These may seem like 2 different things, but a lot of times if someone has a talent for something, they usually have a passion for it, and vice versa. Sometimes you may have a passion for something, but you don't have a talent for it. You may say, hey, I want to do day trading. I have a friend who just started day trading. I still put this in the same category because in the grand scheme of things, it's something you want to do and something that's very easy for you. That's really the question that we're trying to get at, is what does your heart really want to do? The next area is resources. This will determine whether you can do it or not. And that's time, people, or money. Do you have resources for the thing? Then the next area is how low hanging is the fruit or the income? Hey, if I do this tomorrow, can I make money that same day? Or I start tomorrow, I'm not going to make money for a year. I'm not going to make money for 6 months. How low hanging is the fruit or income? So these are the factors that go into deciding whether we do passion or not. You need to decide how important each of these things are to you based on a 100%, like think like a pie chart. How important each of these things are to you right now, each of these areas. So let's say, for instance, you're in a situation where like, hey, I need to figure out how to make money tomorrow. Low hanging fruit might be 90%. If you feel like you're a very resourceful person, this might be 9%. And then my current talent, that's not even important to me right now. And that's 1%. Okay. So that all totals out to be 100. If you're saying to yourself, hey, I'm a very passionate person. That's me. I'm a very passionate person. I play chicken with the Mack truck. I need to be able to do what I feel like is my purpose and my passion. If I can't, everybody's going to be unhappy. everybody. Okay. So for me, this is very high. This is probably like 80%. Resources, how important having the resources to be able to do a thing is. Now, you may be thinking like, that should always be high. No, some people are like, I will run through a brick wall. It doesn't even matter. I know I'm going to figure it out. That's me. So that means the resources, whether you have it or not, is relatively low. Like that is a less deciding factor. Like for instance, I decided that I want to start a media company and make Hollywood movies. I have no idea how I'm going to find the resources, time, people, all the things. But every day I remind myself that that is the main thing. That is what I want to do. And I'm going to figure it out. So resources don't really play an important factor in this for me. So resources is going to be, let's say for someone like me, resources is like 5%. So then that leaves over 15%. How low hanging is the fruit? Income. How important is that to you? You might need money tomorrow, but your faith may be like out there and you're like, that's not important to me. I know that one thing I know about myself, when I set my mind to something, because I know it's a part of my purpose and I know I can physically do it, I know the money's going to show up. I'm not tripping. And it'll show up tomorrow. It'd be like Jesus. Hey, go get a coin out of the fish mouth. And that's when they did. Okay. That's just how I roll. So you're going to fill this out based on you. I've seen ranges. So I want you to know that this example that I'm giving right now, 85-15, this example is nothing compared to what I've seen. Everybody's is different every time I do this. Then you're going to start going across here and giving every single solitary hustle for each of the 3 areas, passion projects, I should say. You're going to start giving them a score of 1 to 10. So let's say, for instance, transaction coordinator. I'm just remembering what she said her passion for it on a scale of 1 to 10 was a number 2. Her resources for it, it's a 10 because you don't need a whole lot of resources and she had the time and it didn't take a whole lot of time. So on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10. Then the low hanging fruit for this was a 10 because she knows if she does a job today, she can get paid in 15, 30 days. So for her, that's a 10 in her mind. Or maybe it was like an 8. Let's say it was an 8. Okay. All right. Let's make up some other numbers. Now we can see on the spreadsheet, we're going to look for, I would say it depends on who you are, but for an average person, I'm including myself average. If I am doing something brand new or I'm starting something up, I can't do more than 2 things at a time. In order to like really focus, I really like to do 1 thing at a time, but sometimes you got to do 2, right? So you don't go insane. I say pick 1 for fun, like that you really, really, really want to do. The passion is high for it. And then 1 that makes the most sense. In this instance, based on this person's allocation of the things that are important to them, in this instance, marketing consultant is the best option. Remember, low hanging fruit income is not that important. The other one that came really ranking high was real estate investor. So those are the 2 things you go for. Everything else just has to wait for a little while. And that's okay. You just might not be able to do it right now. Maybe next year, some scheduling may open up. Now, here's the other thing that's really important to note. This greatly changes if you change these numbers across the top. If you decide that your current everything changes, somebody got to have surgery, you need to come up with some money or something. My current talent, passion for it, that done dropped down to 5%. Low hanging fruit income, that's up to 50%. And maybe resources now is at 45. So things looking mighty different. Your best option now is going to be the pizza shop. Next best option is the transaction coordinator. I would suggest that you do pizza shop. And then if you're super passionate, pizza shop and a marketing consultant, because you're really passionate about it. And that could be something you work on in the background. It's no fun if you got to do 2 things that you don't like, 2 things you don't like. That ain't fun. What we are trying to do right now is we're trying to find the intersection between what type of byproduct, we'll get to the byproduct, what that means in a minute, what byproduct you want and the way that you want to actually do it. We need to find the intersection of these 2 things. The thing that you really, really want as a result, what do you want to walk away with, and where does these projects, where do they intersect? Then you can start crafting some strategies to allow you to pursue a bigger goal where your byproduct, the money, the women, the cars, the clothes, the shoes, all of that, you can't make the money, the cars, that can't be the goal. So like for instance, if you decide, hey, I want to be a transaction coordinator. Transaction coordinators don't make a whole lot of money, but I want to live in a multi-million-dollar mansion one day. And I've seen people do this where they set up a business, but they want some big financial goal and they don't come up with a bridge to really get there, or they're not realistic about the way that they're doing their business to get to this goal. What this says to me is you don't really care about this goal. One of the other that you don't care about, and this is what we talk about misalignment. You're doing this business in this way that's going to get you mediocre money, and you're not trying to think bigger. You're not trying to change how you do things, and you're expecting something magical to happen for you to have this big money, and it just ain't it at all. Now we're at step 3. Now we know what emotions we're after, we know what byproduct we want to get, and we know what vehicle we're going to use. Now here comes the good stuff. This is how you set your goal. This last part is game changing. All right, I have a statement that I want to read off, and it's going to be a little bit confusing. I promise you it's going to make sense in a second. Now we're going to set our goals. Set goals that will get you to those emotions that you originally said, using the initiatives that we decided in the passion priority matrix, so that the design is a byproduct of the goal. Okay, here is the requirements. This is the really simple thing to do. You need to decide that you want to be either the best, the fastest, or the cheapest in that particular initiative. It doesn't have to be in the world. It can be in a region. So let's say, for instance, you chose to do transaction coordinator and you're trying to have a byproduct be a certain financial goal, right? In order to do that, in order to really make yourself stand out, you need to have a goal of saying, I'm going to be the fastest transaction coordinator in the tri-state area. Or I'm going to be the best, highest quality transaction coordinator in all of California. You may be thinking, I don't know, that sounds weird. I'm going to give you a bunch of examples. One thing I noticed not too long ago was that Simone Biles, when they had the Olympic trials, she scored off the charts, right? She's the best gymnast in the world. And when they had the Olympic trials, I saw a couple of her performances and the scores, and she messed up on a couple of them that she got the highest number. Do you know why she got the highest number? The thing that makes her different is that she chooses difficult routines. That's the thing. So she says, I'm going to pick the most difficult routines. I'm going to do the most difficult routines. In order for me to be the best, because that's her goal, I want to be the best gymnast. That's what sends her scores off the charts. I'll give you another example. Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar right now, everyone is like, oh, this is so exciting. He bested Drake. Not like us, okay? He bested Drake. He didn't wake up and say, my goal is to best Drake. If you look at his history of his career, he said over and over and over again, I want to be the best rapper in the world. Then it became an objective. In order for me to be the best rapper in the world, what do I need to do? I need to beat the best. And then him besting Drake was a byproduct, okay? I'll give you another example. Elon Musk, one of the richest people in the world. Sure, I'm sure he wanted to make a whole bunch of money, but that's not how he did it. He didn't say, I want to make a whole bunch of money. I want to make a whole bunch of money. I want to make a whole bunch of money. What he said was, I want to be the best electric car producer in the world. I want to be the first to go to Mars. The money is a byproduct of him actually being serious about being the best. See, here's the thing about being the best. No one wants to go there. No one wants to do it. It is a road less traveled. If he wanted to be a regular car maker, he's got a lot of competition. But it's like, hey, I just want to do electric cars. There's probably only seriously maybe 5 companies in the world that's really serious about this. I don't know. It's not a lot. Okay. Next example, David. We all know David as the number 2 king in the Bible. Don't nobody get mentioned about their king being a king other than Jesus. David. Guess what he was? The best fighter. Also, he was the best praiser. We all know after he came back from war, Saul got mad because they was like, David killed 100,000. Saul killed 10,000. He was mad that this is the song they were singing in the streets. As a result, he became the king. Okay, I'll give you one more example. Jesus said, I'm going to do something that no one's done before. I'm going to cheat death. The byproduct is he's the King of Kings. What can you be the best at that is in line with the thing that you are trying to achieve? That's step 4. But you need to do step 1 through 3 in order to get to step 4. I want to give you one last example that I really hope drives this home so that you can achieve your goals, right? So when I did this exercise where I wrote down the emotions and all that stuff, I realized that there were a couple of emotions that really defined me. I didn't even know. 2 words that kept coming up: meticulous and harmonious. I like feeling meticulous and I like feeling harmonious. But specifically with meticulous, what I was doing with my business is I was adding layer upon layer of complexity to fulfill this need to feel meticulous. It does something to me. But then I realized, hey, you know what I can do and make money with being meticulous rather than adding complexity, unnecessary complexity to my business and giving myself headache because I'm chasing after something? You know what I can do that brings me joy is I can do a productivity lifestyle show. This is the show you are watching. And I can show all the things that I do in a beauty and health aspect that helps with my business, where I get my meticulous rocks off. Like you just saw me. Do you know I did my makeup 3 times today? 3 times! In addition to that extensive wash process. 3 times I did my makeup today, y'all. And guess what? I don't even feel no ways about it at all. Because I like feeling meticulous. And so rather than adding complexity to my business, I figured out how to massage that in another way that I can make money and get pure enjoyment from it. So this show is always going to have a health, beauty, lifestyle component where I am being unnecessarily meticulous because they like it. Okay. It makes me feel very Nicole. This is where I'm just like in my full Nicoleness. With that being said, another emotion that came up was coordinated, harmonious, and purposeful. And one of the things that fulfills that like no other for me is running communities. This is why we are expanding the Better Than Success Real Estate League. I'm not ready to talk about that just yet. I'm taking on some partners. I'm not ready to talk about it just yet. I will make announcements soon. But as a component to all of this, I am also launching a community, a productivity community. This productivity community, I've been holding on to this for so long and working on this. I am so excited. This community is going to be 2 times a month where you're going to be able to have behind the scenes conversations with me. I'm going to give you some very specific lessons about how to get more time. I know none of us have enough time to do stuff in a day. And for some reason, I'm really gifted at being able to maximize my time. And I go through a lot of processes that I help other people with doing. And I have a ton of information. I've written a whole book for myself about time management, productivity, really using God, goals, and money. That's why this show is called God, Goals, and Money. Now you really understand why it's called God, Goals, and Money, right? The other component about this community is I want to send you products once a month that helps with your productivity. I want to send you very specialized journal because I have a very unique journaling system that allows me to get a lot done. And you're going to, in order to be in this system, you're going to need these journals on a regular basis. We're going to read books together. I'm a big time reader. That's all I'm going to say. So we're going to have a book club. And the other thing is I'm going to send you all types of productivity products, physical products. So if you want to be a part of this community where you get twice a month, every other Wednesday, we're going to sit down and I'm going to show y'all some game-changing productivity stuff so you can get your time back and you will get a really amazing product box from me with the best productivity items. I am like a productivity product junkie. Some of it's going to be workout stuff. Some of it's going to be just actual physical productivity things. I can't wait to share it with you. So if you want to get on the wait list, I don't know how many spots I'm going to open up. It's not going to be a lot because I like to do things in a limited way. So if you want to get on a wait list, go down below. I'm truly excited about this. The link will be down below where you can get on the wait list. You don't even have to pay to get on the wait list. You're just going to be the first person to know about this, and you can make sure you secure your spot, and I'll send you an email and all the things. So get on the wait list right now for the God Goals and Money community. And if you like this video, make sure you comment down below. And last but not least, before we head out of here, one last thing to think about. I know we talked about how setting financial goals will keep you broke. Like, you ain't gonna be able to achieve your financial goals if you just have financial goals. Do you know what's gonna keep you broke? These darn medical grade skincare products, okay? But it's good products. It's good stuff. Listen, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but look at this 41-ness, okay? Yes. Come on, Nurse Candie. Order her stuff down below. And I love y'all. I want you to have an amazing day. And I'm going to see you on the next episode.